Last night, as we are recording, was Monday Night Raw, a very special Monday Night Raw celebrating 20 years of John Cena not being in OVW.
That's right.
How much of it did you get to see?
I got to see all the stuff involving or talking about John Cena, which was the highlight of the program. And for once, it took me almost an hour to watch 3 hours of Raw because there was actually content on it. And they had the big banners, OVW, thank you for 20 years of Johnson. No, I'm just kidding. They should have at least sent Danny Davis a card, but they did nothing. They took all the credit. I mean, it was fantastic. John Cena's a once in a generation. Actually, maybe makes him too common because it happened that Rock and Austin both came along at the same time, and that never happens. He's a once in a blue moon type of performer. The Cenas, the Austins, the Rocks, and obviously he's now the youngest, biggest star that they have that has gone into movies and Hollywood and television, etc. And I loved his performance, and we'll talk about it in more detail. I guess I'm trying to preface all that by saying so people don't say I'm going to go right in and savage this segment. I'm not picking apart anything that John Cena did, but I don't know how I feel about having the other wrestlers on the roster, even some guys that they theoretically plug into a main event every now and then, doing a standing ovation in the back and applauding the guy when he comes through, no matter what. Could you see that many guys on the roster in the Attitude Era doing that for Bruno? Not because Bruno wouldn't deserve it, but because the guys in the Attitude Era didn't look like fans of fucking other wrestlers. Am I saying this correctly in any fashion?
Well, it's also about the presentation of them. They would never be presented as fans of other wrestlers.
Yeah, I can't see a lot of those guys standing there with, oh, I'm so glad my favorite wrestler from when I was a kid and clapping is coming here and blah, 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 and allowing him to walk by and tussle their hair or give them a little peck on the cheek or a little nudge under the chin or whatever. Hey, that a boy, kid.
Did you see Becky Lynch?
I did not see her. Was she back there?
I could be wrong because I didn't rewind it and watch it a second time, but she was on the right side, head down, very, very slowly, almost barely clapping. The only one that seemed to kind of be selling the idea that maybe she shouldn't want to be there.
She shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Because I'm a main event star too, motherfucker. And I sold more tickets last year than you did.
And
you didn't wrestle last year.
And she's a heel.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing I wasn't comfortable with. I understand them giving him a big ovation. I love the referees, crew people, the announcers. Goddamn, does Michael Hayes wear that shit to every TV, or did they give him a heads up he was going to be on camera?
When did that start? Because I've seen plenty of out of the ring photos of him from the 80s. He never dressed like this. When did this start?
It was, I think, when they went public and he started flying around on the plane and got, because it wasn't, he was still fairly normal Michael Hayes when he was Doc Hendricks when I was there in the late 90s. And then suddenly I see these fucking bright fluorescent yellow and orange things and the fucking pimp hats and the sleeves that are as long as goddamn straitjacket sleeves. And he's gained, and I'm not trying to savage poor Michael, but at his age, because he's my age, he should lose a little weight too. I'm clocking in at 193 these days. That's his left leg. But anyway, so I see the agents, the referees, the crew people, dignitaries in the WWF that we might recognize. I see them doing it, but even the underneath guys, the preliminary guys, why not, right? But it was a lot of them. And they don't have that. I didn't think they had that many wrestlers on Raw anymore to line the hallway that long. But anyway, so he got applaud. He seemed really happy. First, he saw Shelton. My God, they've known each other since OVW. And then I think he liked to see Killings and Nick Nemeth or Dolph Ziggler and a couple of, and then other people he was just doing the parade wave for. But his mannerisms are so good, and he projects the humility and humbleness, and then, hey, how you doing? Oh, and I got you, and hey, and there's a salute. But he was a returning conquering hero. It's like he fucking signed the fucking treaty after the invasion of Normandy. They should have put him in the Pope Mobile, coming down that hallway with Vince driving. I gave you the Pope, and now I've given you Cena. Yeah, there you go, Travis. I did your work for you there on that one. So he comes in the back entranceway of the arena, coming through the backstage hallways, gets a huge standing ovation from the talent, goes around the corner, and we don't see him again for half an hour. So they were really teasing this thing. But what did you think about coming through with the talent and the whole 9 yards?
I mean, I agree with all your points of why it's inappropriate for a wrestling show, especially one with baby faces and heels, when all of a sudden there are heels there and everyone's just there acting like a child. But on the other hand, it's a show where everyone acts like a child.
Good point.
So it would almost be out of place for everyone to treat it serious or anything else. And I think it was important for them to get him out there right away because people were expecting him, and it also established there'll be more of him later on.
Yeah.
So it almost gave you a reason to try to sit through this show.
And that's, when he comes through and they're just the idolatry of, the whole thing. But
I'm telling you, Becky Lynch, go back and see Becky Lynch there. Okay. That was the only thing that stuck out to me.
Well, and then they interspersed him a bit through the show. He bumped into Private Party's backstage Private Profits. Shit, Street Profits.
Private Profits. That's a good name.
Private Profits. Well, goddamn it, they both got the same gimmick, both teams. And there was too many P's in there, the alliteration. Anyway, the Private Profits
Street Party
pre-tape, or the Street Profits pre-tape, or the Private Party Profits pre-tape. He came into that and gave him a pep talk. And then they had comments from the stars, from Shawn Michaels, a Big Show. Even though he was on WWE television more this week than he was on AEW. Big Show, Booker T, Bryan Danielson.
Daniel Bryan had said on the screen.
Daniel Bryan, yeah. Trish Stratus, Triple H. Then they showed a Cena video, and this is where nobody does videos like the WWE. Their production, it's amazing. The career highlights, the Make-A-Wish highlights, meeting the troops, the mainstream TV appearances, the movies. That's a fucking star. Everybody, everywhere he went, it wasn't like, oh, here now we're going to bring out a wrestler. No, John Cena. They loved having him. That's a fucking star. And then, did you see the backstage bump in with Ezekiel?
I actually missed that one. I did not see that.
There was Ezekiel and Cena says, oh, because he's looking at him kind of sideways, right? And Ezekiel's giving him the thing, well, my brother Elias and I just loved you. And also now they have another brother, Elrod. Did you hear about this?
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I did not hear about this. No, there's a third brother.
Yeah, old Ezekiel said, well, Elias is around here somewhere. I think he's taking a walk with my brother Elrod. But anyway, they did some business, and then Cena turns around and he's face-to-face with Theory. Boom. And I like this because it gave you a look at what a guy like Theory looks like in the environment of being nose-to-nose with a main event fucking guy that's really over, not like one they have on the roster these days. And they gave Theory all the words, all the verbiage, and he gave it to Cena and made fun of his fucking pants. Told I'm the big deal around here now. He was good. They were nose to nose. He's 2 inches taller than John. Got same size arms, and he's 20 years younger, and he looks like he belongs. And then they resisted the temptation that everybody, including the folks on the other channel, would have, and this company used to have, to embarrass a legend or embarrass the fucking young up-and-comer, one or the other, somebody always gets their fucking pants pulled down and spanked or whatever. But they got a perfect way out of this. Cena didn't say a word to him. He took the verbal browbeating, and as soon as Theory finished, he turned around like he's going to take a selfie of him making a face in front of John Cena, and Cena just gave him the pfft and walked off and left him. So when Theory looks up at his phone, hey, what the fuck? He got disrespected, but not bad enough to bury him. So that was worth seeing. That now it was like, what would Theory look like in the Attitude Era when people were over? Now you got a chance to see it. And then they had more comments from Angle and Orton and Bradshaw and Jericho, Stephanie, Austin. Another package with all of the Make-A-Wish kids. Well, not all of them, but many of them that he's granted the wishes to. And he done more than any other. Did they say more than any other athlete, more than any other celebrity, or?
I thought it was more than anyone else.
More than anyone. Yeah. Well, it's possibly all of those. So he ain't doing that just for publicity. He's got enough publicity. We just saw the fucking clips. It's a thing he does that he obviously takes pride in. So, but did you notice how that was specifically placed, Brian?
In what sense?
In this sense. See, I'm telling you, we're dealing with a goddamn master manipulator here. He's a psychological genius, folks. He's a thoroughly dangerous man. I believe he's an undercover agent for the FBI, sent down here to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan. Vince McMahon, they play the video of Cena granting all the wishes with the Make-A-Wish kids and the heartwarming instrumentation of his theme music. And right out of that, here comes Vince. Boom, the music and the people, yay, it's Mr. McMahon. And here comes Vince McMahon in the ring. Perfect product placement. See that superstar that was so nice to all those kids, the one that I brought you. Well, here he is, and I'm going to introduce him. And besides rubbing the nose in, or the face in, of all the investigators and people trying to move him aside or kick him out or whatever, besides that, he's there to say, look, again, I gave you this theme park that you people love, the WWE, this universe. I started all this, and now I brought back another one of the biggest stars you've ever loved. Boom. He gives Cena the Aretha Franklin fucking intro from WrestleMania
3. It was WrestleMania 3. That was the best Vince has sounded on TV in a while, actually.
Well, and that's because he brought it up for the occasion. The Queen of Soul, John Cena. And then here comes Cena. Again, now they bring the poor talent. I guess the talent is probably parking cars, doing the valet thing after the show, also at the red carpet thing for Cena to walk down. But the talent is lined the entranceway. And here comes John. Huge pop, the Cena chants. It shows that nobody's over now. And it is what it does. I mean, I know they need to have the big star on television, but god damn, this isn't even close. It's like if suddenly, Magic Johnson in his heyday came, to a fucking high school basketball tournament, and there's all the high school players applauding him as he comes down because he's 7 feet tall and he's the greatest basketball player, blah, blah, blah. So, and Cena commands a microphone. He commands people's attention. He's natural. He can bring it up and take it down. But the whole promo, which was a masterclass in self-deprecating babyface humbleness, he's more popular now than he was when he walked out there, and they'd elected him probably mayor of that town at the start. But you people, I thank you. It's all about us and you. You've allowed me to do this for 2 decades. I've always wanted to say thank you. So, of course, then the loud thank you Cena chants. And I mean, he should run for office, or he should be the fucking football coach for Notre Dame or something. Win one for the Cena. But here's the thing. This was a incredible, not only performance of captivating public speaking, but also in humble babyfacery and just making people like you and firing them up and getting them excited. You completely overlooked that he said absolutely nothing. There was no topic. He just said, thank you. They made it 20 years of John Cena. We had perhaps thought that this meant, well, shit, Vince is in trouble. All hands on deck. They've thrown some money at him to come back and do something, but he came out, he said, right toward the end, I don't know when I'll be in the ring again. And everybody's like, So I want to say this. And then he fires them up again with how thankful he is for them, puts them over again, and then fires them up for the big finish. And the people are happy as clams. And I bet they didn't even realize that he just came out and told them, yeah, I'm here right now, but I don't know when I'll be back. So it was brilliant. They got ratings through this whole show, I'm sure. We're early here. I don't know if they're out yet, maybe by the time we finish, but they definitely, it was more entertaining than the normal Raw because this was somebody that we give a shit about. But there was no news to impart, was there? Except he loves us. He really loves us.
And he really wants to make sure he doesn't get hurt and screw up one of his acting gigs because he's right now become a successful actor, making a lot of money with a very popular series. I think that's what he was saying. And I saw a quote recently from him. I don't know if it was a recent interview or when it was from. I thought it was somewhat recent, asking about criticisms he had maybe a decade ago, whatever it was when The Rock came back, about how The Rock just abandoned wrestling and went Hollywood, and how he sees it completely different now. And I wonder if, thinking about all that, if he saw that, this is a great opportunity for me to stay in touch with the fans, say that I'm not going to be here for a while. Don't be mad at me for not being here. I will be back. I think they were saying one more match, and he said it'll be more than one.
Yeah.
More than one. So I think this was for him, it's a brilliant move. It went on a little long for me. How many times can he say it's us? It's not me, it's us.
I jotted down, I think he said it 7 times, I believe.
How many ex-girlfriends wish he had said that? It's not about me, it's us. It's us. But anyway, I kid. But it was nice to see him, and he's a star. At the end, when he was jumping into the crowd and stuff, and they had the shot from behind, and you realize he's lost a lot of his hair, that was the first moment he looked his age. But other than that, he looks like he's in great shape. He's slimmed down, obviously, because he's doing acting work. You can stay muscular, but you can't be as bulky. But it was nice to see him on the show. And in terms of as a human being, he's clearly one of the greatest human beings wrestling's ever had, just from all that Make-A-Wish stuff.
Yeah.
It's beyond commendable. It's fantastic that he goes out of his way for that stuff. I'm going to ask you a question I think that relates to it before we get to any of the AEW stuff. But those are my only thoughts. It was nice to see him on the show. He didn't really say much. The fans love him now more than ever before. There wasn't much of a John Cena sucks chant with his music like there used to be. And next week we're back to normal.
He made fun of that too. He said, "You tell me when you like me, and you've told me when I suck, and and that just makes me want to do better," or whatever he said.
Is that when you turned off Raw after that?
What more was there to be seen?
I don't remember what else was on the show, actually. They had Cody. Cody was interviewed in a gym.
Well, shucks. Maybe I'll have to go back and revisit that.